The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
Waking humanity, one soul at a time. This is the World You Don't Know radio show with your host, Nick O'Connell.
Now, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're very welcome on to this week's edition of The World You Don't Know. And tonight, I do have a guest lined up. I'm going to try and get him on the phone now in a second. I was trying to ring there a minute ago, but his phone seems to be engaged. So I'm going to try and get him on now in a couple of moments. I've got Harry from We the People coming on. Now, Harry has been a past guest on this show. He was one of the, I suppose, key guests I had on back in the early days of this show when it wasn't difficult to get people, but I didn't know the best way about getting guests onto the show, and Harry was one of those who stepped in and was imparting some absolutely fantastic information in regards to sovereignty, the fact that our government is a de facto government, a provisional government, that they're still under the crown, you know, all that sort of information. It's stuff that I've spoken about on the show many, many times, and I'm hoping to get Harry on tonight. Now, I have hooked up with Harry in the last couple of weeks. Met him a couple of weeks ago down in Waterford at the Open Minds conference, which was a great conference, organised by Trevor Evers and the team from Awaken Aware South East Ireland. And Harry was down there, he didn't give a talk down there, no, but he was down there listening to a few of the talkers. But I had reason to meet him again yesterday. I was at a small meeting yesterday, and he's agreed to come on the show again tonight, and that's great. He hasn't been on the show for well over a year, maybe even 2 years nearly at this stage. So it'll be good to get him back on. So I'm going to probably go to a song now in a minute or so. I'm going to try his number again, and if I can get him on, I will. Otherwise, I'll figure out some way to get them on the show. Anyway, as I said, I've been trying his landline number, and it seems to be engaged for some reason. I'm not sure if I'm getting the wrong number or what, but I'm going to go and play a song. Let me see now. Have I got a few tunes there? No. There's a few there. I'll go to I'll play a bit of Chris Rea. I haven't played Chris Rea for a long time in the show, so that's what I'll do. I'll play a bit of Chris Rea, and while that's playing, I'll try and get Harry on the show. So if you just bear with me, I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we'll see what we can sort out as regards to getting Harry on the show. Talk to you very shortly. Anyway, I have rang Harry on the mobile, so hopefully we can probably have a little chat. So I'm going to go and try this one more time, folks, and we'll see what happens. Good evening, Harry. No, there's still nothing, folks. I don't know why. Harry, can you hear me? You can?
Yeah.
Right, just about. Unfortunately, I don't know why this is acting up the way it is. Let me see now. I'm just going to mess around with the levels there. Now, Harry, can you say hello?
How you doing?
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a bit louder than what it was. So hopefully we can conduct some sort of an interview 20 minutes late. Sorry about that, folks. As I said, this is Modern Technology. Harry, you're very welcome onto the show. How are you doing?
Sure. Keep busy, Mick. You know the usual.
Well, that's good, Harry. I'm just going to mess around with these levels, Harry, and try and increase the volume of you a little small bit if I can.
Yeah.
That's a little bit better now. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now, Harry, I was talking about sovereignty and what sovereignty is. I mean, a lot of people, unfortunately, with, you know, the brain conditioning that people go through in school and stuff like that, a lot of people seem to think that sovereignty that has something to do with an item of jewellery that you wear in your finger or the Queen.
Yeah, people get mixed up with sovereignty with royalty. It's nothing to do with royalty at all. Everybody's born sovereign. Every child is born sovereign. And what they do when you're born, they corporatise you, like they corporatise our natural resources and all that. And they drag us into a corporation, a corporate government, a provisional corporate government. And they trade you on the stock market, and they then, this the whole thing about registration, you need to deregister to regain and retain your sovereignty, okay?
Now, when you say deregister, Harry, now I understand what you mean, but for the listeners, can you explain how do you go about deregistering it, and why should you deregister?
Well, you write a handwritten letter, duplicate it on carbon copy paper, and register post it in to the relevant department where one is registered. You know, like you can, the register of electors, you can get removed from the register of electors, because politics will change nothing, because all political parties are under the British Royal Oireachtas. It's not Dáil Éireann. People need to wake up to this, and more people are. And when you deregister off their voting list, for example, they don't have any mandate over you anymore.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter who you vote for. When you register, you've given them the mandate to change whatever political party they wish to get in, because it's only tonsillocky, it's a fiction.
Hmm.
And you give the Free State government, which is under the Crown, that's why you're being evicted. It is not Dáil Éireann. People give them the mandate, and you turn them into elites because you elect them. This is the power the people have, but they don't know it.
Hmm.
And, you know, when these people, you see, what they're striving for now is a so-called United Ireland within the British Commonwealth. Okay, it is not under Dáil Éireann. Dáil Éireann never sat in the Duke of Leinster House.
Then a lot of people have the misconception in this country, Harry, because we hear it every other day on the news, Enda said this in the Dáil, and Michael Noonan said that in the Dáil. They constantly keep mentioning the Dáil. And yet, as you maintain, as Billy McGuire maintains, and as I have researched, and I can't find any information to the contrary, the Dáil doesn't sit in this country. It never has. Well, it did for a short period of time, back in the early part of the last century. But since then, it hasn't sat. We've had the Oireachtas, which, as you well know, Harry, was foisted upon us by King George V. So it's a British construct, even though it sounds Irish.
Yeah, it sounds Irish, but it's not Dáil Éireann. Dáil Éireann never sat in Leinster House. They can't. They try to have usurped. They've usurped the flag of the sovereign public, Dáil Éireann, and the Dáil Éireann courts. And sometimes you may see the flag with a fringe on it. That's an Admiralty flag under the Crown. There's 4 colours on the tricolour now. It's not a tricolour, it's 4 colours.
Now, can you tell the people what that 4th colour is, for those who don't know?
Well, it's a gold fringe.
And what does that gold fringe signify, Harry?
Admiralty jurisdiction, which is under the Crown. It's corporate law. It's the law of water, banking law, Admiralty.
So it's the law of money, basically.
They have usurped, the Free State have usurped the national flag. Well, the tricolour
Right.
was adopted by the IRB and adopted for Dáil Éireann. Dáil Éireann is a 32-county mandate, but the Free State are claiming to have a united Ireland, but it's under the British Commonwealth. And this is the trickery. And in relation to it, that you can't be evicted under Dáil Éireann. That's partly why it was set up.
Yeah.
Okay, but the Free State are evicting people today, 101 years after a rising, to prevent such, and they're being evicted by sheriffs. What's the sheriff doing in Ireland, for example? And the interesting thing people need to realise is that the sheriff gets his so-called authority or legitimacy by the Minister for Justice, which is Noreen O'Sullivan, isn't it? What's her name?
No, Frances Fitzgerald.
Oh, Fitzgerald, yeah. So one of the ways to put pressure on this provisional de facto government is to handwrite a letter to this Minister for Justice, which is really just them, and demand a copy of the warrant she issues to sheriff, because I got this information many years back off the record. It is the Minister for Justice who issues a warrant to the sheriff which enables that office to function in this country, okay? And if enough people wake up and write a handwritten letter registered to that minister demanding a copy of the warrant by return of post, if enough people do this,
Now, Harry, you mentioned there...
one registered letter constitutes 13,000 people thinking the same thing.
That's what I was about to ask you, Harry.
If
The
people
actual...
do it in every part of the country, it will certainly put them under so much pressure and duress that they will eventually have to vacate, and Dáil Éireann can be reinstated, and the Dáil Éireann courts. They are not Irish sovereign courts, they are bar courts. British accredited registry. Okay? This is what people need to realise.
I mean, this is why they wear the wigs over there. You see that in Crown Court in the UK, and yet they wear the same garb over here in this country. And as you said, as you rightly point out, we have the illusion in this country that we're a free and independent state, but we're not. You just have to look at the way barristers dress in the courts. They dress like their comrades in England.
Yeah, well, it's the same. They're all sworn to the Crown in London. They're all sworn to the headquarters, 0 GMT. The headquarters is a bar in London. That's all. And this is why they can't celebrate Independence Day, which is the 21st of January, 1919. On that day, Dáil Éireann Forsat and K. Dáil Éireann was ratified in the Mansion House and the Dáil Éireann Court.
No,
Our job is to wake the people up.
There was something that was pointed out to me there
prevent
yesterday.
evictions and vacate this provisional de facto government with all the fictitious parties. Because all the political parties are all sworn to the British Royal Oireachtas style.
Now, I remember, Harry, if I can interrupt you, I remember a video I've seen, I think it was of yourself, if I'm not mistaken. You rang the office of the Taoiseach many years back, and you asked a very pertinent question. You asked the lady on the phone. Now, you obviously didn't get through to the Taoiseach, but I think it was his secretary you might have got through to. You asked the lady on the phone, is our government a de facto provisional government? And she told you, yes, we are.
Yeah.
You know, so they're not denying this. They do admit that they are a de facto government. That you're just temporary, like a...
Provisional, yeah. They're not, it is not Dáil Éireann. And it's stated by the threat of immediate and terrible war under this fictitious treaty, which wasn't a treaty, because it was only proposed articles of an agreement. But they changed that terminology into treaty, you know, after they had gone and signed this piece of paper in London, many years back. And now we have a free state. Essentially, the free state was designed to kill the republic, and this is the case today. And to keep the lid on the pot from this information getting out there by any political party, so they pay them lots of money as members of the British Royal Oireachtas. And that's why they won't rock the boat, because they're getting paid loads of money.
So they basically sold their fellow Irishmen out?
Yeah. So what did the Free State do? They got the arms off the Brits, tooled them up with uniforms and the Enfields and Vickers machine guns, and he attacked the four courts and killed, and that's what they've done. They killed the Republic. The Free State is not the Republic. It's a free state under the Crown. The British construct with sheriffs and bar courts and, a continued RIC under the guise of peacekeepers on Garda Síochána. They're sworn peacekeepers. They're not supposed to collect monies and boost revenues for the Exchequer, and that's what they're doing.
That's exactly what they do, yeah. I mean, you just have to look at the amount of armed, and I repeat, armed checkpoints checking for tax and insurance. I mean, what's that all about?
I can barely hear you now.
The amount of armed checkpoints that we see now around Dublin.
Yeah.
And they're stopping for tax and insurance, but yet they've got guns.
Yeah, they're all over the place. That's a precursor to martial law, which is partly what the flag with a fringe around it is, because you don't have any constitutional protection. But the only valid constitution is the 1919 constitution under Dáil Éireann.
Because that's the only one that was ratified.
Yeah, the Free State Constitution was done by plebiscite, where so many 100,000 people registered, and then 5.1, all it takes is 5 point dot to get their mandate in a legal sense, not in a lawful sense. So it's not applicable to a republic. It doesn't constitute the principles of a republic, where it takes 2/3 majority, to make any decision.
No, I was shown an article yesterday, Harry. We read an article there yesterday together, that was in Encyclopedia Britannica, of all things, and it was in relation to De Valera's 1937 constitution, where he declared the Republic of Eire. But there was something very significant about the way Eire was spelt in relation to the way it should be spelt. It was spelt like i.e. by De Valera with a capital E with a fodder over it, when the official Eire is lowercase e with a fodder over it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that was the little scam that they pulled.
Yeah, they do it before your eyes. They display the flag with a fringe on it right before the eye, even in the Supreme Court. And they have on the lamppost in Dublin, an obedient city is a happy city. On the lamppost.
In Latin. Yeah, I've seen that. The crest. For anyone that's wondering what that is, have a look at some of the old silver lampposts, the big old lamp standards that you see in and around Temple Bar and Grafton Street and places like that. There's a crest on it, a city crest, and in Latin, I don't know what the word says in Latin, but it basically translates into happy is the city where the citizens obey.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's it. And it's still the case today. Nothing is. People have been evicted in 2017. People need to wake up to the fact of what's going on and why people are being evicted. 2017. Now, Patrick's Day is coming up. This is where the Irish Republican Brotherhood, that they were founded on that day in 1858. And that's a celebration. That's a real celebration day for that reason. The St. Patrick is the order of St. Patrick under the crown, the Queen of England. It's not an Irish event, but it's psychological that we are celebrating our national day. It's not. We should be celebrating our Independence Day on January the 21st.
Not this day of drunkenness and revelry and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking St. Patrick's Day. If people want to get out and celebrate and look at a parade, that's fair enough. But, you know, if you want to get real about what's really going on in this country, how about getting out and celebrating our real Independence Day and reclaiming that sovereignty?
That's right. Yeah.
You know, that's what we need to really do as a nation.
That's what we should be celebrating, is that. And, you know, Mr. and Mrs. are titles under the crown. There's no such titles in Irish. That's why they have to destroy our language.
Yeah. I mean, something you just said there, now, destroying our language, it makes sense to me now. I remember when we were going to school, Harry, as kids, the school teachers that we had who were there to teach us Irish, they were brutes, and we didn't want to learn that language. We didn't like it. And I think that was deliberate on their part.
Of course it was. Well, they were given a programme, and that programme have programmed the nation. So they give you television programmes and radio programmes. And from early, we're given so-called educational programmes, but they're all programmes. So you have to believe these, to be the lie. You have to believe. You have to live the lie. It's the whole thing is a programme. You ask anybody from Ireland Independence Day, and not too many can tell you. But more so now than ever, people are waking up to the fact, and they're not contracting with the de facto provision of government. They're returning to sender everything. Look how successful Irish Water has not been. It's dead in the water now, you know, because people have been returning to sender all their offers of contract.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing that really woke the nation up, was the water issue.
Water issue. So, you know, all the people who have displayed on the property no implied right of access to install water meters never received one.
Yeah.
And in Cork, all over Cork, no consent, no contract. They're all over, stickers all over the windows in Cork.
Yeah. I seen it myself. I mentioned that to you yesterday, that I was in Carrigaline there last year, and just about every single window in the whole estate had no implied right of access. We don't want your water meters, i.e. feck off.
Right.
I'm quite righty. So, Harry, listen, I need to go to some ads. Do you mind hanging on for a couple of minutes?
Sure, yeah.
Brilliant. Folks, we'll be back in 2 minutes with Harry. Talk to you very shortly.
Presenters Local News. Tune to Liffey Sound 96.4 FM.
Now, folks, you're very welcome back. The text line is 08706271138 if you have any comments or anything about what we're talking about. And you can check out the Facebook page as well. I haven't mentioned that for a while now. The Facebook page is called The World You Don't Know. Go on there, like the page, spread the word, I suppose, about the page. I have on the line Harry from We the People. We're discussing sovereignty and what it actually means to be sovereign. And I'm going to go straight back to Harry. Harry, you're still with me, yeah?
Yeah.
Lovely. Harry, just before the break there, we were having a good chat there now about sovereignty. Something I just wanted to run by you there now is this Tuam baby scandal. Now, as bad as all of that is, I can't help thinking that was brought to the surface at this moment in time to try and divert attention away from the Maurice McCabe scandal, which had the potential to bring down the whole upper echelons of the Garda force and the government.
Yeah, it's called controlled opposition. There are many groups out there to do that, and every government, every corporate government has what's known as controlled opposition. Thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, to get their agenda through by diverting the people from take their eye off the ball. And these are all just tactics, you know. And sure, it's highly likely that that's the case in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking a couple of years ago about Tuam, what was going on there, because this story is not something that's recent. This story actually broke a good couple of years back. But what I can't help thinking is they knocked that building down in Tuam in 1961. They knew well what was buried below that building.
What's it? Yeah. It's all the whole system is engineered. if people should have a look at the film They Live. It's I find quite interesting and entertaining and awakening for some people who would be totally unaware about most of what's going on. Interesting film made, I think, in the 80s, called They Live. And the whole thing is an illusion. And people really need to wake up to the fact that they're sovereign. Because you heard of sovereign bonds. Well, they're based on us. The people are sovereign. All these monies and creation of money is based on people. Our energy is the people are sovereign, not the executive. Because the people derive from, a creator, well, then that energy has been... it's like the banking. It's all going through the banking system, all right? We're bound. We are traded as slaves on the stock market, as chattel, okay? And we're worth our weight in gold, quite literally. And they enslave the people to pay fictitious interest on money that doesn't exist. It's a method of controlling everybody in the planet.
Because, the banks, they operate on what's known as fractional reserve banking, is that right?
Yeah.
And it's the same here in this country. I know fractional reserve banking is probably something that, most people would associate with America, because the Federal Reserve and stuff like that. But it all branches out into every other bank around the world.
It does. It all stems from the Rothschild dynasty that control all the central banks throughout the whole globe. And Ireland is no exception.
Yeah.
See, what was founded in this country was a sovereign republic of Eire, which encapsulates the entire island as a sovereign, independent nation, not just a mere 26 county free state under the crown, which still affects the people today in 2017. We need to reclaim our sovereignty, know how to do it by deregistering, let's say from the voting register, because you're only giving them the mandate to do what they do, which is vicars, taxes, jailers, finance.
By playing their game?
Yeah.
Or you getting out and voting for these people?
It's only a business. It's only a corporation. It's like America is the nation. The United States of America is a corporation.
And Donald Trump is the president of that company.
Yeah, he's only a CEO of a corporation.
Do you think he knows that?
Of course he does, yeah.
So he's part of the game. And a lot of people have this misconception that Donald Trump is one of the good guys because he's seen to be sticking it up to the system,
Yeah, he's probably one of the better. But they've no choice. What's he going to be? The president of America or the president of the United States of America? That's not an easy thing to kind of change people's thinking on,
Yeah.
That needs a dissemination of solution-based educational information. Because, listen to Joe Duffy. He's on $360,000 a year. Not for solutions. I ring Joe up about a year ago. I say, Joe, I have any solutions? And then the phone goes dead. You hang up.
Well, sure, all the shows like his can do is talk about problems. That's all they tend to do anyway.
Sure.
They present the problems that's there. It's like the Jeremy Kyle show.
There's no money in solutions.
Yeah.
It's really simple. There is no money in solutions. I don't give a damn who they are. Whether it be any of the councillors or other members of the Oireachtas or what they even claim themselves to be TDs. And none of them have solutions because they would be out of a job. Simple.
Yeah.
The biggest money racket, one of them in the world, is the cancer industry. That's the biggest con job ever. There's loads of cures for that. But you see, the system already instigates the problem with acid food, for example, or artificial fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
And six parts per million of fluorosilicic acid in Guinness, for example. And what do people do? Slobber pints of Guinness every day in the week, and they get acid-based, and they get sick.
Yeah. And they don't...
Solution.
And the gas thing is, these people don't believe the connection between the two.
Well, then, that's their own fault. If they should kind of at least ask questions. Instead of accepting that, let's say, notices, a television notice, an income tax notice, or toll road notice or a water notice, it's a bill. It's not a bill. It's a notice.
Yeah.
But
And as
people
you point out, a notice in law is not a bill.
Sure, it's simple. I'll send you a notice if you want, and if I could send out 10 notices alleging that you owe me money. Sure, if I get half of those people sending me checks, I'd be a very rich man, wouldn't
You're
I?
laughing, yeah. I mean, for me it's easy to understand, but I think for the majority of people out there, I don't know what it is about them. Is it cognitive dissonance or...
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
it's even like with the TV licence, for example, or even the dog licence. You know, people say, oh, it's the law. And I've asked them, like, what law? Can you tell me? Or the Control of Dangerous Dogs Act. I said, well, that's an act, it's not a law.
Yeah, so it's only voluntary compliance. That's all it is.
In relation to income tax...
License, I'll go ask the dog. I mean, what are you asking me for, you know?
Yeah, in relation to income tax, Harry, as you pointed out there, it's voluntary compliance whether you pay tax or not. Because there is no law that requires you to pay income tax. And I've looked it up, Harry, I can't find anywhere on any of the statute books where it says, you must pay tax, it is the law. Now, there's the Income Tax Act, and that's got a ton of wording then to go with it. But the thing about income tax is, Harry, is they take it at source, so you don't really have a choice in that matter. If you're a working person, you know, they're going to steal it from you anyway.
Yeah, but if you're self-employed and you're not a limited company,
Yeah.
income tax is voluntary compliance.
But, so that's the only way you can, I suppose, exercise your sovereign rights not to pay income tax, is if you're self-employed.
Well, that's one of the ways, you know, but
Yeah.
you can do it many other ways. By, like, if people need to stop signing forms, like census forms. When the census kicked in here, people were bombarded with offers of contracts to the letterbox because all their information was sold. Okay? Because they gave it, and it said on the form, well, it stated on the form, you must fill this in or you may face jail time. I mean, you must come to my party on Thursday, or I may be offended. It may rain as well. These are all word plays.
Yeah, it is a word game, Harry, isn't it, really?
Sure. Why do you have to destroy the whole place with the English language? This is nothing against the English people. They're subject to the whole thing as well. Okay? They took away our language by force and probably even murdered us for speaking it.
Yeah.
You know? And they've done terrible things to get the word game into every nation in the world, and they're still at it, you know?
There's a guy that's be on YouTube, a guy called Cullen Smith. I don't know if you ever came across him. And he comes across as this wacky American, but he talks about word magic and stuff like that and phonetics, and how the English language was used and created to basically control it. And like, he's very good at what he's talking about now, you know.
Yeah, he puts you under a spell.
Yeah. Or yeah,
So if
spellings.
you say you understand, that means you stand under. So never say you understand, because it means you stand under their alleged authority over you. You hand it to them and you don't realise it. So never say you understand. If someone comes up to you in a suit and you say, do you understand? It says here, well, I can't hear it say anything.
Yeah. I've seen him doing that one before now as
Piece
well.
of paper. Of course, law's law. Paper doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there really is only one law when you think about it, and that's harm and loss. Don't cause anyone any harm, loss or injury, or commit fraud upon
If
them.
you don't do your fellow human being, if you don't do them harm, loss and injury, I mean, there's no law, bro. We're not breaking a law. You may offend a sign, or you may offend a piece of yellow ink or paint on the road. See, they've corporatized everything. They've corporatized the planet. They've turned it into a corporation.
You know, it's funny, I remember seeing a speech many years ago. Funny you should say they turned the planet into a corporation. And it was by a Scottish guy, a well-known cartoon illustrator called Grant Morrison. And he gave this mad speech back in 1999. He was off his head when he was giving the speech, but he said some very poignant things. But one thing he did say that has stuck with me ever since was, with the way the world is going, with corporations taking over everything, he says, if we're not careful, in the very near future, we're all going to be living in McDonald's.
Sure.
You know, and what you just said there, like that they're corporatising the planet, that's exactly what they're doing.
And that's exactly what he's done. It's up to the people to wake up to the fact. Yeah? They need to know what's going on. They need to know what the enemy of the people is. It's your provisional de facto government.
Yeah.
And I mean this not just in Ireland, but everywhere. But we need to start in Ireland. Ireland can do it.
I was just going to say that, Harry.
Sovereign, Dáil Éireann.
Do you think that if we in this country manage to regain our sovereignty and get rid of these bloody corrupt criminals once and for all, that it would have a knock-on effect around the rest of the world?
Yeah, it would. Look at the impact of St. Patrick's Day all over the world.
Yeah.
If we get the information out about sovereignty and Dáil Éireann, that will have it's already having a domino effect all over the world. There's methods and videos going all over the world that people are using already.
Yeah. And they're having success with it too.
Sure, this is applicable all over the world because the people are sovereign, not the executive. You are sovereign, your child is sovereign, we're all born sovereign. We all have these inalienable creator-given rights. It doesn't give a damn what you believe in. You know? That's all orchestrated as well. Religion and politics. The biggest controlling tools ever all over the world.
Well, listen, I have a couple of minutes left, Harry.
Millions of people, many millions throughout the world have died under the cloak of politics or religion or both.
Well, that's very true, Harry. I mean, we just have to look at what goes on around the world and the amount of wars that are instigated. You know, and as you well know, no poor man on the street wants to go to war. It's these politicians who send the poor to go to war.
Sure.
You know, and we know all of this. Harry, I want to ask you one more question, because we're running out of time, Harry, and unfortunately we didn't get the full hour tonight due to some technical issues. I got into all of this, Harry, many years back, and I remember meeting you a good few years back as well. And at that time, it was small, if you get what I mean. Like, there wasn't a lot of people who know what you know, but now an awful lot of people know what you know. Do you think the tide is turning?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. People are waking up. And it doesn't take 90% of the people to wake up. It takes percentages of the people to twist it. And then it'll escalate, you know, really, really quickly. And, you know, the knock-on effect of this is quite amazing.
So you think?
Powerful, you know.
So you think you're having an impact now?
You don't have to join anything. You don't even have to join your hand. Mass, peaceful, non-compliance is the method on how to affect change. There is no other way, because if you do smash the place up,
that's what they want.
State or any other corporate government will come in and suppress the people.
Yeah.
They impose the martial law. And
this is the one thing that they do want, isn't it? They want the people to react in that way. I mean, you look at the guards getting all tooled up now with their guns and stuff like that. And
hold to their oath of office, because I mean it took 6 years to get the oath of office, so you need to hold them to the oath of office. They're peacekeepers. That's their oath. That they swore an oath as a peacekeeper to protect the people, foreign and domestic. The same in America.
Well, you don't look that peaceful, Harry, when you're coming up against the checkpoint for tax and insurance on your card and they have a gun there pointing at you.
I know that, yeah. Well, to get on with things, if you can give them their slave taxes to boost the exchequer figures, just to keep them away.
Yeah.
To get on with your life, I suppose. You know.
So you might as well give it to them.
Somewhat, you know.
Well, listen, Harry, I have unfortunately come to the end of the show. Unfortunately, I couldn't get you on for the whole hour due to the technical difficulties. But listen, what you have given us so far is a wealth of information, Harry, and hopefully people will do something with it and do something useful and, you know, affect change in their own lives for the better. So listen, Harry, until next time.
Registered letters. Handwrite your letters.
Handwritten in blue ink.
Ask a simple question, one line. Please forward me a copy of the warrant that you issued the sheriff to function in Ireland. And I'm ready to post that. If enough people do that, and deregister as well.
And things will start changing. Harry, well, listen, thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Okay, mate.
Listen, thanks very much, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Okay.
Thanks, Harry. Bye-bye. Bye.
Take care.
Take care. Now, folks, that was Harry O'Reilly from WeThePeople.ie. Interesting stuff to be talking about, sovereignty, etc., etc. Now, unfortunately, we did have a lot of technical difficulties and we have come to the end of the show. So, folks, I have run out of time, unfortunately. So, until next week, folks, remember, the world is full of great people like Harry. If you can't find one, simply be one. Until next time, folks, take a handy. Talk to you all very soon.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, the secret oath, and the secret proceedings.
Waking humanity, one soul at a time. This is the World You Don't Know radio show with your host, Nick O'Connell.